Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another episode of 365 Days of Gaming. Really appreciate you taking out time to check out this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Greatly appreciate it, so thank you in advance. Today's episode, we're going to talk about what could be considered the OG of roguelike games. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm not a fan of the number of roguelike games that we have, but some are very, very good and I enjoy them sometimes. So I want to talk to you about a Sega Genesis classic, if nothing else, Toejam and Earl. To give you a little bit of a background on Toejam and Earl, this was a underrated, cult classic Genesis game that ended up being like one of the staples of the Sega Genesis collections that they would release from time to time. And the game is very weird to describe. So you play either Toejam or Earl, or both if you play in multiplayer mode, right? And you're trying to find ship parts for your rocket ship, your spaceship, to get back to planet Funkatron. Now, this game was recommended to me a bunch of times as a kid by my cousin Lamont, who is the person who would always find these outside of the box games. And he used to be like, I'm telling you, it's nothing like you've played before. It's so different. The music is crazy. The characters are goofy, but it's like, it's fun. The game is always random when you play. And I'm like, yo, this just sounds like a lot. And we're talking about like 92, 93, right? And so I finally play it one day. Like he gets me to sit down and play it with him. And I'm like, oh, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. One, it makes a lot of sense why he likes it, but also like this is a very solid game. So you go to each level and you're walking around and you're exploring. And like I said, this is randomly generated. And you got to think back in when this game came out on the Genesis, like there weren't a lot of or any randomly generated games. So each time you play this, the locations of items, the locations of enemies, the layout of each of the levels is different. And you're trying to find these parts. And the other thing that's crazy is sometimes you go to a level and there is no part. So you have to figure out how to get out of this level, get to the next one. You can actually fall off of the level and you'll fall down to the previous level. So like there's a lot of things that go on in this game. Again, and you can play this multiplayer, which, in itself is cool, but also sometimes is detrimental for somebody like me because I want all the items. The other thing is with the items that you find, you don't know what they do until you pick them up and use them. So you'll have presents that you pick up. Everything is like gift wrapped and you'll click on it or, you press the button to use it. And if you haven't used it already, you don't know what it does. So you're just kind of like, you have to figure out what everything is. And that just kind of makes it, even crazier. But you go through each level trying to find all your ship parts. When you find your ship parts, you get to, blast off to planet Funkatron. And it's just kind of like rinse and repeat. It's just a fun game. It's one of those, it's more relaxing than you think. It can get very frustrating because, sometimes you're like, come on, I've been on 4 or 5 floors in a row and I haven't got a part. Because the game will tell you when you get to a floor if there is an actual part there or not. So you can always do that. But each floor, you're still trying to collect items. You can find health. You can get basically, you kind of level up where you get like an increased life bar and things like that. And also they tell you, like when you start, you're like a wiener or a doofus, but then the more you level yourself up, more you collect things, buy things, you start to, get, like I said, you get more health because enemies do a lot of damage. So you need as much health as possible. But it allows you to, you feel like you're progressing. So there's almost like a progression system, like a level up system built within the game. Like I said, again, this is Sega Genesis days. So this isn't even PlayStation or 64 or Saturn or even Sega CD. And I remember playing this game multiple times and enjoying every time I played it. Didn't play the second one as much, and I know they came out with another one for like the Xbox and then another one that was like a Kickstarter game, but none of those matter. We're talking about the original entry into the series, the out of nowhere cult classic Toejam and Earl. The names of the characters always was like funny, because Toejam is like a 3-legged hot dog looking thing, and Earl is like this. I used to think they were like ketchup and mustard, but I think Earl is just like a weird looking alien, and he's like supposed to be flat, but he looks fat. But everything about this game just kind of fit that time period, right? Like this is one of those, like they should have had a show on Nickelodeon based on how they looked and how this game went. And maybe they did, and I just never heard about it. But it just had that early 90s aesthetic. They just had it down packed. And like I said, the music, fantastic. We'll let you hear it, but copyright strikes and whatnot. But if you have a chance to, get one of those Sega Genesis collections or Sega collections and it has this on there, I'm telling you, give it a play. You won't be disappointed. You'll very much so enjoy it. And I hope you do. And I appreciate you letting me reminisce with you. Y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Peace.